This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, and insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to show 298 Aussie Mac Zone. Oh, I hit go live. Yeah, I did that. See, I'm losing the plot already. Straight into it. Hi, Zarn. How are you tonight?
Great, Michael. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Very good.
Excellent.
Good, relaxing, working weekend. But anyway, tonight we're brought to you by BLB. BLB. It's now I've lost
BLB Creations.
Creations. Yes, I couldn't think of that. I have to see. I'm not reading the bit of paper, am I?
Once again this week, we're brought to you by BLB Creations and
Tart. Tart.
And a tart.
Yes. So we'll start our Aussie Apple ramblings this week, and it is Siri answers 83% of questions correctly in a test, beating Alexa but trailing Google Assistant. Now, in an annual test comparing Google Assistant, Siri, and Alexa on smartphones, Loop Ventures' Gene Munster found that Siri was able to correctly answer 83% of questions, beating Alexa but trailing behind Google Assistant. Munster asked each digital assistant 800 questions during the test to compare how each one responded. Alexa answered 79.8 correctly. Google Assistant answered 92.9 correctly. Now, the Google Assistant understood the query 100% of the time. Siri understood it 99.8% of the time, and Alexa understood it 99.9% of the time. Now, compared to last year, Siri has seen an improvement. During the July 2018 test, Siri answered 79% of questions compared to 83% answered right this time around. Alexa was 70 and Google Assistant was 86. So that they've all been improvements across the board. So it does make things easier to understand.
So they're learning.
They are learning. Yes, they are. If only I could learn as well as they do. I wouldn't do 800 questions. I'd get out and walk out.
I'll do 8. Probably get 99% of them wrong.
Something I have noticed too is, so when I'm texting my address to people, because I do that fairly regularly now.
It's because he's a serial killer.
Yeah. And as I start texting, it knows to put my street name there straight away now. And then straight away it knows to put avenue afterwards, because I used to have to start typing it, even though I'd got the street name right and it had the suburb right. I had to start typing avenue all the time, but now it puts it there straight away. So as soon as I hit my numbers, it puts up the next one as my street name. Then it puts, when I click yes to that, it puts up avenue as my choice. Yes to that, and then it puts up my suburb straight away. I think that's pretty cool now.
That's awesome.
It's just picked up that avenue part, so it makes it perfect every time I want to text somebody. It saves an enormous amount of time over a week.
My phone also does that with your address.
Yeah.
I need to change that.
Now, Apple was granted over 2,000 patents last year, ranking it around number 10 in the US. How cool is that? 2,000. So who says they're not innovating?
I reckon.
Yeah. They're just carrying along, these things we may never see, never hear about. But Apple last year was granted more than 2,000 patents, putting it around 10th place in the US companies. Two different organizations came up with slightly different numbers and rankings. The Intellectual Property Owners IPO Association said that the number of patents granted in 2018 by the office was 2,147, ranking at 11th. And IFI, a company that specialises in providing patent data to industry, came up with slightly different results, with 2,160 ranking at 9th. Now, you might think that counting patent grants and then ranking companies would be straightforward, but many patents... Many patents are acquired from other companies, and in many cases, the totals comprising patents owned by the parent company and various subsidiaries, making it tricky to actually calculate. But the differences are, however, minus. Now, the IPO ranking puts it down as IBM, which is still called International Business Machines, then Samsung, then Canon, then General Electric, then Intel, then Alphabet, which is Google, LG, Taiwan Semi, Microsoft Corp, Qualcomm, and then Apple. So there's plenty of innovation going on in the world, even though we're not necessarily seeing all of it. But if IBM had 4,000 and Apple had 2,000, that's a lot of spread in between. So
yeah, I reckon.
So that's excellent. Now, the top 5 patent categories were all tech ones. One was electrical digital data processing. Number 2 was transmission of digital information. Number 3 was semiconductor devices. Number 4 was wireless communication networks. And number 5 was pictorial communication. So, yeah, times to love to know what they're coming up with. I'm sure we'll hear some of them, but yes.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Now, this one we've got a picture for. Now, remember Apple's bulbous, colourful iMac went on sale 21 years ago this week.
That's insane.
The iconic all-in-one computer has been with us for a long time. At Engadget, we spend every day looking at how technology will shape the future. But it's also important to look back at how far we've come. That's what this week in tech history does. So 21 years since that iMac came out.
I had one.
Yeah. It came out, I have to remember, it was only had USB ports.
Yep.
So, what else? It just still had a screen as opposed to an LCD panel. They weren't far behind, but so
we had a purple one.
Yeah.
In the pictures here, you've got the orange and the green.
Yep.
And there was a couple of different other colours. We had a purple one.
Yeah.
What colours did you have, Michael?
Well, Bondi blue.
Yep.
And the what was it? It's the white one with the colourful, the different colours all over it. Geez, I can't even remember the name.
I think we had a Bondi blue one as well. We had the purple one and the Bondi blue one. Yeah.
Yeah. It also got rid of the floppy disk drive.
Yep.
Had a CD-ROM.
Right in the front of it.
Yeah.
It was great.
You had internet on it via Ethernet, or a phone. Had a phone socket on it, or you could have an Ethernet.
Yeah, there was an Ethernet connection because I had mine hooked up to the internet.
Yeah. You sure it wasn't a phone line? Oh, with the internal modem?
I can't remember now.
Yeah. There's a purple one on one of the photos that I've got here. There's the purple one and the pinky coloured one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think a mate of mine had the pinky one. Because his mum liked the colour.
Yeah.
And so they got the pinky one. And we had the blue one and the purple one. We had the purple one first. And then about a year later we got the blue one.
Yeah. So, yeah, the iMac was well received by the press and became a late 90s icon, with plenty of companies mimicking it with see-through color enclosures. We even had, we had vacuum cleaners, we had sewing machines. You think of all the things that had that see-through sort of color.
Yeah, what was it? Brother brought out those sewing machines and they had the clear blue tops.
Yeah. So I'll put it down to that famous little iMac. Tremendous. Now, what about where are we up to here? Yeah. So this week we are brought to you by BLB Creations. That's BLB Creations on Facebook. And where are they located, Zarn?
They're actually in Forbes.
That's right.
But they can deliver, deliver packages anywhere in the country via mail.
Yep.
They're a great little company. We both use them. Our shirts for our 300th episode will be done by them.
That's correct. Yes.
I've got lots of stuff from them for my children. I have an early Father's Day gift of a glass with my name on it. They're just a great little company. Well, they're not paying us for anything like that. It's just that their products, their products are that great that we thought we'd give them a shout out.
That's right. We want to use them, and that's correct. And I was thinking of actually getting some coffee mugs done too for the 300th show. I thought of that during the week. I thought,
it's a really good idea.
Get some of those to give away as well. So,
we could have them on the desk for our new format as well.
Exactly. I'm looking forward to our new format. I was thinking about it some more again today.
Excellent.
Doing some planning. So yeah, BLB Creations in Forbes, because when you do look up BLB Creations on Facebook, there is one in Forbes Australia and one Yank Tank.
Yeah, one's in the States and one's here. I'm sure the one in the States is lovely, but the one in Australia is the one that's got our vote.
That's right. Yes, exactly right. So yeah, if you go in and like them as well, that would be great.
Yeah, definitely go in and like them, and just check out what they got. You never know. You might be able to get your dad something for Father's Day, or maybe one of your family members is having a baby, and they do these great little. We've got an elephant.
But what about the baby?
Well, the elephant had a baby. No.
You're staying here again tonight, are you?
I am. So we got this toy plushy elephant made, and it had Levi's name on one ear and the date of birth on the other.
Excellent.
We've got a jumpsuit that says it's a creation of Kalanai and all that sort of stuff. Some really nifty little quirky, kid stuff. It's great. The boys have awesome play. Oh no, that's not the word I'm looking for. Toy Story. There we go. Toy Story shirts and stuff like that. So they just they're great. Anyway,
stuff you can't get at Coles and Woolies or
Kmart or Big Dubs. Yeah, that's right.
Target. Yeah, it's
BLB Creations
individual
on Facebook.
Yeah. So we've got some gaming stories, buddy.
We do. So this is from ING. I was on there earlier today, just having a look around, and I found that
it's IGN.
IGN. My apologies. It is IGN. It's been a long day. So there we go. Hello. Wow. So I was reading about the Mortal Kombat movie reboot they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about that. I love the game. The games are phenomenal, especially in the 90s when they came out. And it might have even been 80s, but I'm pretty sure it was 90s. They came out with the fatalities and everything like that. It was so gruesome, and hadn't seen anything like it. And then, now with the reboot of the new movie. And so it's saying a number of best-selling video game franchise franchise classic characters have been cast in the new Line Cinema's feature film reboot of Mortal Kombat. Variety reports the Power Rangers and Black Mirror actor Ludi Lin. Look, there's a few different names in here that I apologise if I pronounce them wrong. I'm sure you guys will tell me if I do. Has been cast as Liu Kang, and Lin has recently been up for a role of Marvel's Shang-Chi, but lost it to Simu Liu. According to the Hollywood Reporter, MLC veteran, oh man, come on, Tabanobu Asano.
They chucked them all up here for you.
Oh, didn't they? What? Who played Hogan, there you go, in the Thor movies, is in negotiations to play Raiden, the God of Thunder, and the Protector of Earth's Realm. Supergirl's Mehcad Brooks will play Jax, while newcomer Sissy Stinger will play the assassin Melina. And the Raid's Joe Taslim, who Taslim was also recently cast as Sub-Zero. What's going on there?
I don't know. Probably at me. I thought I turned it down, but anyway.
Yep. So Mortal Kombat will be shooting later this year in Southern Australia under the direction of Simon. So there's all these weird names now. I can't even say Simon McQuaid, who will make his feature directing debut. Greg Rosso wrote the script. Mortal Kombat is scheduled to hit theatres March 5th, 2021.
There we go.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait for that, actually. I hope it's good. Like, we've been getting all these really good series and stuff like that on Netflix and stuff, and you know, was it with Endgame and everything like that in the Marvel universe. So I hope I hope this is good. All right, so long-time Pokemon producer and designer. Oh, here we go. Jinichi Masada completed. Why did I pick these? Competed in the Pokemon Go Invitational, the very first official Pokemon Go tournament ever. At the Pokemon World Championships, rather than outfit his team with the most powerful, commonly seen competitive Pokemon, he brought his well-known favourite Psyduck in his favourite battle against Poke. Okay. Masuda humorously and unstrategically seemed to save all three shields to keep his Psyduck alive as long as possible. Later in the best 3 out of 5 match, Masuda replaced Psyduck with another odd duck. Ludi Colo Poke took the match 3-0 and went on to finish the tournament at second place. More popular Pokemon at the Pokemon Go Invitational included, for example, Skarmory. See, if Mason was here, he'd be able to tell me exactly how to say these. Atari. No, that's not Atari. Altaria. Oh, man. Altaria. Defense Dexori and Umbreon. Well, that's easy. That's okay. So Umbreon. Masadu did have an Umbreon, but the caster pointed out that unfortunately it lacked the Community Day exclusive move, Last Resort, which may have made a difference in the performance. Masa's ability to expertly complete Pokemon Go's charge move mini games through, though, is a sign that he isn't a complete stranger to Pokemon Go PvP, just that he wanted to use his favourites. Masadu has previously gone on record saying Psyduck is his favourite, and a Psyduck based on his own hang on a second, sorry. Anyway, so the Psyduck that he used there as part of the event in 2016, that is the one that is the special Psyduck that we get. Centers around Japan to anyone with a copy of Pokemon Omega Ruby or Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Evident by the previous match between Strawberry 17 and Yamada, and of course the nail-biting Grand Finals Pokemon Go PvP is much more strategic than it initially seemed, made especially so by recent changes. So it's fairly obvious Psyduck is not exactly a viable choice. It goes on to explain, like, it goes, take this play, for example. Strawberry 17 switched to Venusaur, which is one of my favourite Pokemon, is against Yamada's Altaria, which at first seemed like a mistake, considering Venusaur is weak to Altaria's flying type attacks. However, Strawberry 17's intentions were to battle Altaria's flying type charge attack. Anticipating the attack, she switched yet again for her Skamari, which took little damage from the charge attack. This switch baiting is a familiar tactic in the usual core video games, and it comes with an added benefit of charging up Venusaur's attack for later, which ended up winning Strawberry 17 the battle. So there's some new features in Pokemon Go. So when you would go ahead and battle, before you just have to tap the screen to build the power, now you have to sort of swipe and follow a pattern. They bring out a certain pattern, and you've got to try to get as many of the symbols as you can.
Yeah.
And the more symbols you collect, the better your attack. So it's really good. I was only playing it probably about an hour ago with Mason, and we were battling together, and it's made it easier for him, being 4 years old, to battle as well, because all he has to do is sort of swipe around and try to collect the symbols instead of tapping hard, because obviously I can tap faster than he can, and so he doesn't really get to win a lot because I'm a mean father. I'm just showing him it's real life. It's real life. So the new way, he actually beat me 1 out of 2 times. So excellent. So that's all I have for gaming. Sorry about all the names and everything like that. It was full on. But yeah, there you go. Gaming. Back to you, Michael.
Excellent. Thank you. Now, just one last thing. The guy that would have known all the names, I'd imagine, was I passed a car today, a Mustang.
Yes.
He had Pokemon stickers on the side of it. Pokemon, yeah.
Yep, Pokemon.
Yep. Stickers on the side of his Mustang, so he obviously loves the game.
They're actually Pikachu stickers in yellow, and then had lightning bolts behind him. It was very cool.
Yeah, something different. Excellent. Now, Apple is readying. Here we go. Apple readying up to 80 million iPhone 11 units for next month. So Apple is readying 75 to 80 million iPhones ahead of next month's iPhone 11 launch, says analyst Daniel Ives. Despite some of his gloomier peers yelling fire in a crowded theatre about Apple, he's confident about Apple's future. That's even with the ongoing US versus China trade tensions. We believe Apple is on a trajectory to sell between 180 and 185 million units in the financial year 2020. He believes the average sale price will remain relatively stable over that same period. Ives acknowledges some of the challenges that exist in China. Specifically, he notes that there has been a discernible nationalistic push for some suppliers in China to buy Chinese handsets over American ones. Nonetheless, Ives predicts that between 60 and 70 million Chinese consumers will be in the window of an iPhone upgrade opportunity for Apple over the next 12 to 18 months. Of these, Ives writes that he thinks the vast majority will upgrade their handsets. So what does all this mean for Apple's share price? As a result of this enthusiastic appraisal, Ives predicts that Apple will hit $245 in the next year.
Awesome.
Right now it's trading at 202. So, yeah. It's a lot of phones, isn't it? It's a lot of things made. Like, just...
That's insane.
You know? There's people there making them away, making them.
The share prices are awesome too. Excuse me.
Yep. Oh, sorry to keep you up.
I'm sorry about that. The share prices are amazing. I wish I knew this when I was a child.
Yes.
I totally would have bought Apple shares.
Yeah. You think of how many people sold everything, like would have sold a heap at a loss in the 90s when they were disappearing.
I know. We were talking about this. I was talking about this with Kellyanne yesterday about iPods, and there was an iRiver and there was another one.
There's everything. No. At least that little bit's died down at the moment.
No. It was a MP3 player sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was called. I think it was made by Microsoft.
Yeah.
Do you remember the name by chance?
Not off the top of my head.
That's how popular it was. Well, I had one.
Yeah.
Of course. And it was actually quite a good unit. Just one day it died, but other than that, it was quite a good unit. I used it on the train to go to work. I thought it was great, and I didn't have the money to buy an iPod, so they were a lot cheaper. Yeah. Anyway,
they were.
What was it called?
Yeah, I'm just getting there.
Yeah.
The Zoom.
Zoom. That's it.
Yeah, ZUNE.
Yeah.
Or the ZUNE HD. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was a few around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a bad unit. It worked quite well for what I needed it for. And it had, to be honest with you, it had a bit of screen at the time.
Yeah.
It was a lot more user-friendly. So...
that's a big call.
It was just because it was new technology, and with the wheel on the iPod,
yeah,
and this one you just had to sort of, press a button left or right. That's all.
Yeah.
So yeah.
HP they were using Apple's one, just renamed. Yeah. Had HP logo, but anyway. So, when you go into the App Store and you've got today's stories on how things work, or story about different apps, whether it's a game of the day or games that are in the store, or productivity software that's in the store. So you can now see those in a web browser. That's since it redesigned the storefront in iOS 2011, but until now, those interviews, guides, and recommendations were only available to read in the actual App Store apps. Now, though, you can read them directly in a web browser or computer. The new web view works on desktop and Android devices. iOS devices will still directly open the Today Story in the App Store as usual. Yeah, so yeah, when you click on the link now, it'll actually open in a browser and let you read it.
Yep.
So there's no way to actually find the links on Apple's websites. So people have got to share them around.
Yep.
Which is good. Make it easier for everybody.
Absolutely.
And now 2.4 million people in America owe their jobs to Apple.
Wow.
They depend on Apple for the jobs. Directly or indirectly, Apple is responsible for 2.4 million American jobs.
That's fantastic.
It is. It is. The company says 450 of these are at the thousands of US companies that supply components for Apple computers, phones, and tablets. There are 9,000 such suppliers in the country, and the Mac maker says it sent them a collective $60 billion in 2018.
Wow.
Calling attention to the number of Americans and US companies that produce components for the iPhone and Mac, etc., helps Apple make the argument that its products aren't all made in China, a touchy subject since the current US-China trade war. Manufacturers in countries around the globe also produce parts for Apple devices. They're shipped to China where they're assembled, though increasingly they go to India as well. Yeah, because like Apple just bought Intel's business for making the chips we use for making phone calls, right?
Yep.
And they paid $1 billion, which was a bargain, apparently.
Yep.
But that company wasn't reported very much, but I believe that company is actually in France.
Oh, there you go.
And it was like, 2,500 people or something, 1,000 employees or something, but we reported on. But yeah, so
I was thinking like 2.4 million people is a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, if it was here in Australia, it'd be a phenomenal amount of people.
Yeah, so the company directly employs 90,000 people in all 50 states. It announced a plan to add another 20,000 to new jobs in the next 5 years.
Awesome.
This is part of the plan to spend an additional $350 billion in the US between 2018 and 2023. With Apple direct employers and those working at parts suppliers combining for 540,000 jobs, the remainder 2.4 million are third-party software developers. And that's a total of 1.9, an increase of 325,000 since the beginning of 2017. How cool is that?
It's awesome.
It's a lot of people doing stuff just for our Apple stuff, isn't it?
It is. It's amazing.
And you think there's, all the Fortnite people.
Yep.
Well, not all the Fortnite people, but lots of the Fortnite people. All of those, just amazing. And that's just in the States we're talking about there.
Yeah.
You've still got all the people in China it employs, India, Australia.
I was going to say, even Australia, like we have the Apple stores and stuff like that, so they're employing people here.
That's exactly right. It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, reminder this week, we are brought to you by the Audio Roundtable podcast. TART, the Audio Roundtable podcast. Of course, it's got Garth on it. Garth is one of our leading commentators here, although he's not on every week anymore, and he'll definitely be on in a couple of weeks for 300. So yeah, take a listen to the Audio Roundtable podcast, especially if you're interested in audio information and how to do it, and a few other things they're getting into at the moment too, to keep you productive and keep you going. So don't forget, the Audio Roundtable. It's a podcast. Of course, it's available on iTunes, just to name one place. Now, story number 8. So this is about Apple being very mindful again of
story 6.
Which one was story 6?
Game of the day. Oh, we already done that, have we?
That was you, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't me.
No,
Anyway.
I can't. Anyway,
it doesn't matter. Story 8.
Did I miss something?
It's okay.
Sorry. Yeah, that's right. That's what we're up to. Yeah, being mindful of how we're leaving the planet. So, Apple Gold now sourced from miners who reverse gold rush mining damage. Apple Gold suppliers used in small amounts in circuit boards. Apple Gold supplies used in small amount in circuit boards are now being sourced from miners who work not only to restore but improve the land used once operations are complete. Jeweler Tiffany & Co. has also signed up in the same initiative, which will reverse historic mining damage to rivers and streams in order to allow the return of salmon on the endangered species list. There are hundreds of small and large placer mining operations in Alaska actively producing gold in the US. Placer mining sites along creeks and streams, giving the chance to re-mine for any nuggets or fine gold, fine gold left over from the Yukon's Klondike gold rush in the 1890s. Meanwhile, since 1991, 12 Pacific salmon runs have been listed under the Endangered Species Act. These routes that salmon use to make their run to the spawning beds each year are often adjacent to placer mining sites. Now, Resolve, a non-profit organisation tackling some of the planet's most critical challenges through innovative, unexpected partnerships, wants to fix that. Their proposal: combine re-mining with restoration to improve the streams and open them back up for salmon, grayling and other fish species to return.
Yes.
Since Resolve first introduced the Salmon Gold Partnership in 2017, the organisation is connecting local placer miners, environmentalists and government agencies in order to course correct the damage done from historic mining in the region. Apple and Tiffany & Co. will source gold from these miners who have committed to restore and improve the land they're operating on when they're done. Apple says that the move is part of its supplier responsibility program. Now, as we continue to increase our use of recycled materials, we're seeking out innovative ways to source gold responsibly, says Paula Pyers, Apple's head of supplier responsibility. Partnering with Tiffany, a pioneer in sustainability, as well as Resolve, ensures salmon gold can be an example of how the industry can evolve. So that's good. It's another thing keeping the planet going for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Yeah, I've seen something about the Alaskan salmon being endangered.
Yeah.
Which is quite sad. But yeah, this is a great initiative.
Anything that's dangerous is sad.
Yeah, that's right. How much gold is used in a phone? Do you know?
I couldn't tell you exactly how much. It's not very much, and it is recyclable. That's why they want phones back. And
yeah, that's what I thought.
You know, there's people like the recycling people. They want to get all the copper cabling.
Yep.
They want to get the gold off the printed circuit boards. They want to get any silver that's in the soldering.
Yep.
Because you think, oh, there's not very much in that. There's not very, but when you've got 1 billion phones out there, that would be a fair bit of gold.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it all adds up over a period of time. And as we recycle, that's why we recycle.
Yep.
So, even
Excellent.
the aluminium and everything.
Yep.
All recycled. Excellent. Now, we've got a picture to start with. Firstly, correcting our presumption from last week. Nick Cave is an American artist, not the singer.
Who looks nothing like Nick Cave, the singer.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
He's definitely not the Dark Lord of music.
And I believe there in the photo that we've got it showing, and you can see it later on when you're in the show notes. That's probably one of his icon installations that we talked about, which is what the Apple stores are using throughout their through their stores. And every store's got an installation in it. So Karen and I went down there last week, and we had a walk through the Apple store for their ART experience. So we're showing some videos of that. Some of it is like the wind chimes and things that we have these days that cut out. You had to helps if you keep your phone pointing up a little bit, because most of the stuff is up high. So yeah, it was interesting. It was a bit of fun. What's wrong with 5 minutes of fun?
That's right.
Spend at the Apple store.
We all need 5 minutes of fun.
Yeah. So some of the staff didn't even know about it.
Oh wow.
So yeah, they obviously weren't the early meeting that day, but yeah, some of them didn't know. Some of them were right into it too.
So much for being Apple geniuses.
There's not that many geniuses. Most of them aren't all geniuses that are there.
I know that. But that's what they're called, aren't they?
No, not everybody that works at the store is a genius.
I thought they were all genius. I thought they were
no, because there's salespeople, there's business salespeople.
So which ones are the genius? Is that a word?
They're the ones that are technically helping the customers.
Oh, I see.
Because even the people that are teaching you, like those teaching classes they have, they're not held by geniuses. They're held by teachers and demonstrators and stuff.
So technically, you'd be cast as an Apple genius.
If I worked at Apple, that's probably what I'd be. Yes. But
at home, you're definitely the genius.
At home, I'm just him. Him will do what he's told. Now, also, I had this really bad experience during the week, but it was all right. Thursday afternoon, the past week, I've been trying to create a shortcut so that I just run it on my phone and it records the date, the time, and the location of where I am.
Yep.
In a spreadsheet. So the idea is just when I stop to get out to see somebody, I get out, press the button, it records the date, the time, and the location.
Yep.
In a numbers app, right? In a numbers spreadsheet.
Yep.
When I get back in it, I press the button again, and it says. So then I can work out later on
how many hours, whatever time you've spent with a client, that sort of thing.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
That was Thursday. I was creating that. Friday, I opened a numbers spreadsheet I have with all my jobs in numerical order.
Yep.
Only to find that the current table was gone altogether.
Oh no.
And I'm talking massive amounts of information. So swear.
Yep.
And then only to find the backup I had was a month old.
Yep.
More swear. And the last modification was when I was using the iPad, because I'm looking at this information now on the Mac, but the last modification when I was using the iPad for the shortcut the previous day. So I was lucky enough, I was able to go and get the iPad. I had to open numbers, and I had to open the sheet that all these numbers are in.
Yep.
Because it's still running iOS 12, I had to shake the iPad. Then it comes up and says, do you want to undo your last process? Answered yes. And this whole sheet came, all my missing data come back.
Excellent. That's great.
Yes. So first thing I did then was, backed it up.
Yes.
I then went and fixed up the backup of my iCloud data. So all of that, the most I can lose is a day's work.
Yep.
Then I get that backed up as well.
Yep.
Now, getting back that data just by shaking it.
Yep. I don't understand
minimum of 4 hours. So that's undo.
Oh, so you just have to shake it and it'll undo.
It'll says yeah. So if you're in a word in Pages, the word processor, numbers, whatever.
Yep.
You've done something and you want to undo it.
Yep.
You just shake it.
Cool.
And it goes, do you want to undo it? And you go, yes. So that's a minimum of 4 hours work that saved me.
That's excellent.
Because it's got the job number, when I got the job, when I diagnosed it, when I sent the insurance report, if I sent an insurance report.
Yep. When
I sent the request for a purchase order, when I ordered the part from Apple, and when I finished the job, like when I resolved the job on this is so that I can create reports for people.
Wow.
And I would have lost a month's worth of work, and that would have taken forever to go back and look at every job on the system and go through and work it all out.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you, Apple, because you think, well, he's closed it, and he's closed the worksheet, and he's closed the app. But it hadn't dumped hadn't dumped what I'd done. You know what I mean? It still kept it there, even though the iPad had been asleep, and
yeah,
it was like 24 hours later. Oh,
so good. It's so good.
Yeah. And again, now I've set up the backup, so the most I can lose is a day's worth of work. So, yeah, so good. Absolutely so good. Now, don't forget, the show notes linked each week on the show upload. The link being now https://aussiemaxzone.com.au/AMZ298 for this show,
yep.
/. And that way you'll see at least you will see the last 6 weeks of show notes. Spotify, you can just search for Aussie Max Zone. Don't forget, thank you to our
Apple Podcast.
Yeah, Apple Podcast. If you
Aussie
like us,
Max Zone. Yeah, go and
just
like us.
Go and like us, please.
Go on Facebook and like the page.
Please. Tell your friends. Just say these are boring Macintosh people. I know we're into that. Something that was made aware of me while I was listening to another podcast this week was...
We're boring?
There are so many Apple-related podcasts.
Yes.
And so few Windows-related podcasts.
That's right. I know. I was actually speaking to James about that not too long ago.
Yeah.
Because he works with PCs all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then he's like, we should do a podcast like to one of his mates. I said, it's actually a really good idea. I don't think I've ever seen a podcast that deals with that sort of stuff. Well, I have, but. One or two where there's so many Mac-related stuff, because I'm guessing Mac stuff we're more passionate about,
that's right.
What we do, and we want people to know. We want people out there to say, here's a shortcut, we can do this. Where PC users have sort of given it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a few Android ones around. There's quite a few. There's quite a few Android ones around. There's some Google ones around. There are some Microsoft ones around.
Yep.
Just Windows Weekly at the Tweet Network, just off the top of my head.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just nowhere near the same.
Yep.
But as I say, Apple people create, Windows people view. So yeah, thanks to our people we've promoted this week, which is the Audio Roundtable, TART, the Audio Roundtable.
And Build Creations
of Forbes. God, don't want people to get confused with the ones in America.
That's right.
So, yes. But more importantly, thank you to you, our listeners. The most important supporters we have are the listeners.
Absolutely.
And now for our famous sign-off.
An apple a day keeps the androids away. See you guys.